This is a question for everybody, but real quick. Obviously, we're talking to a group of veterans here, and but the pandemic was something that was not in the coaching manual or in track and field news or on RunBlogRun. It maybe a Stephen King novel. Can you give us one of the things you've done over the last 15, 18 months to stay in shape and also maybe stay mentally in shape, maybe keep a smile on your face? Anything kind of fun that you've done to kind of put everything in perspective?
I think like I said earlier, our coach did a really good job of setting up our training. Maybe it was one day a week or 2 or 3 days a week, but we were going to the beach, just training and just trying to put ourselves in situations where we're not going crazy with workouts, but we're getting some work done and working on little things. I think that was the biggest thing for me, especially working on little things, like the things that you would overlook in a regular season, such as like foot strength and core and things like that. I mean, with being injured, I had to, focus on those things, because for a while there was nothing that I could do. I went for 4 months without being able to walk. So, I had to work on other things that I felt like could help me down the road, as far as just those small things. I think those small things make a big difference, at the end of the day. So that's what I was on.
I'll say for me, I was able to spend more time with my son Alex, and we went to the beach a lot with the training group. But then me and him also got to be able to do some things also, as far as like just training with him. We was going and doing our own little workouts together, and putting him through some workouts, because making him stay in shape, because I got to stay in shape so you can stay in shape with me. So it was more of a bonding situation with me and him, and I enjoyed it. Like I said, like Will said, we was able to work on some small things as a group, and Jeremy did a great job with that, keeping us engaged and still making us feel like we're still in a group together as a team and working on something. So I'll say that just being with my training partners and being able to bond more with my son and do more things with him. So like I said, I enjoyed being off.
Yeah, similar to Brittney, I spent a lot of time with family, as I mentioned earlier. I was in quarantine with my older sister for a little bit. I was with my husband at the time as my fiance for a good bit too. And then I actually drove up to New Jersey, saw my family in New Jersey too. So I'm a big family person. I like spending time with my sisters especially. And like I mentioned earlier, usually during the season, I would not be able to see them because of where I train. So it was really nice to spend that extra time with them. And I feel like they're my foundation and really where I get my joy from and who I like spending the most time around.
I feel like during the pandemic, I did get to spend a lot of time doing a lot of trading and learning about cryptocurrency. And I made more money during the pandemic than I've ever made in a track season. So that was a blessing. So I'm appreciative of that for sure.
Wow, that's awesome. I want to hear more about that. Now, during this time, Larry, what was the last time I saw you? I saw you in 2020. I think you tried. Oh, we talked on the phone one time. I think
we talked on the phone. We did an interview on the phone, and then I've been following you around on streaming, I think.
Yeah, the cool thing about my event is we were in the last 2-3 decades, we've always been able to break away from the main facility a little bit in a small capacity. But last year, with the advent of Little Mondo jumping the world record, wow, everybody wanted to see guys pole vault for a little while. And so that gave us a unique opportunity to slide into a little bit of grace that happened between quarantines in various European countries and such. And we had to jump through all kinds of hoops to get on the runway. But we did, through the indoor and then the outdoor season. I competed 20 times last year. I think I was the most competed track and field athlete in the world, formally anyway, which was a weird place to be. But when I was at home, I was working on my house, and that's a ton of fun. And you can see I'm wearing my my landscaping clothing right now. I'm sorry about that. But also, one of the cool things that I never saw in my life really turning around to is I got to Brittney, she noted on it how awesome a younger training partner can be. My little brother is 12 years younger than me, and I call him Sunshine. If you ever remember the Titans or remember seeing that movie, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And he looks exactly and acts just like Sunshine in that movie. He is devil, he's just handsome and talented and everything I wasn't when I was 16. And he's been my training partner for the last year, and he had a magnificent high school season. He lost his whole high school season in 2020, but in 2021, in this last little bit, he's really come to the front of the show in Mississippi high school pole vault. So I think we were hosting a lesson for a young girl, and Johnny's a demonstrator for that. So we're really trying to squeeze it in where we can and stay engaged with the sport. And I think that's been my challenge for this year's, hey, be engaged with the sport in whatever way you can. I mean, we're a little bit rebellious where I come from anyway, so we try to slide in between all the different protocols and make sure, we're doing the right things, because first and foremost, I'm an athlete.
All right, we're going to keep this fun and positive. I'm going to make each one of the field athletes the head of NBC Olympic Sports TV for one day. And I want you to tell me the one thing that you would do to get people more interested in track and field on TV. We'll do the basic that NBC is doing a pretty good job. Like the stuff this year, but would love to hear from the athletes that are still on. Give us one idea how to cover the sport better.
I think a really cool thing to do would be to create a panel with athletes that aren't very far removed from the sport. Because whenever I watch basketball, I always love to watch like Charles Barkley, Shaq, and sport, and just how you can just watch them and it's fun without even watching the game. So I think that would be really cool. And another thing I feel like would be to be able to somehow split the screen if there's a distance event going on with the jumps or field event, to show them at the same time. Because there are moments you might see, Sam, it might be his third attempt and it's in the middle of the 10K and he booms it, and it's an amazing moment that people miss, and it's takes away from it when you show it later on, like a recap rather than So I think, that would be cool to just somehow show the events as they are live and intertwine the events together.
I think Will hit it on the money. And I love how he used me as an example and not himself. That's awesome. That's so professional of him. That's so sick. I'm gonna steal that one. I think we need to invite, like you said, I think we need to invite people from other sports to come sit in like a celebrity section, and we need to extend the invitation for our sport to others. There's no end to people who get tickets and various things to different games. We have a unique kind of a culture and track and field is that, like I said earlier, you can be from anywhere. You don't know who people know. I loved out in California in Mount Sac, my homie from Oxford, Mississippi, DK Metcalf, ran the 100. Well, send him a freaking ticket for row 6 by the finish line and pan the camera to him. People love CDK. I love CDK. And maybe one of these days I would go to a Seahawks game. Yeah, invite people from other sports to us, and because track, everybody's got an attachment to track. Everybody does. It's a legacy sport. It's a heritage sport. Don't make track athletes against everybody else. Oh no, you couldn't make our Olympic thing. No, man, open it up. Everybody's got a history with track. You have no idea how many people I talk to, freaking senators, coaches, people who work in blue collar. There used to be pole vaulters, and then they went on and do famous stuff, send an invitation. They might say yes. We're not such a small sport. Think of us as big. We're big time. They'll want to come. Wine and dine them if you have to, but bring them over.
I like that.
Oh,
I'll put aside some budget for that.
Magic Johnson put out a tweet. He was like, I want to go to the Olympic trials. It's like, dang, like we could have people like Magic Johnson at trials. If we just extend that invite, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I met Michael Johnson. Magic Johnson be pretty sick too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we need to bring our legacy athletes back to the trials. I mean, come on, the track athletes, there's some heroes out there. I don't see them very much. They feel like they're retired. They got to go do something else. No, bring them back. I know Dan O'Brien and Lewis Johnson, those guys are on the camera all the time. I love that. Bring some more too. Bring them all in. It's a big sport. We got a big team.
Facts.
Now,
I
okay,
like
all right.
that. Thank you.
Let me remember, Will, you remember when we went to New York and they told us to bring all our medals? And so me, you, and Kovacs are just sitting in there in this New York boardroom with that fellow, Mr. Schwartzman, and we just started dishing out medals on this table. I brought all I brought was a backpack with me and said, bring every medal you got. And I just dumped them out on the table. And I walked away with Will's medal because I thought it was mine. We just had so many freaking medals. We also need to put some character shots in there like that. Just these athletes and their freaking world travels that are. I was just thinking about that today. You got me on a roll now. There's so much about this sport you can only take away if you get some medal attached to it. You know what I do when I win a trophy? I go put it somewhere I go in my hometown. Because then when people look at that trophy in the freaking computer shop or the coffee shop or the hardware store, they're like, whose trophy is that? Oh, it's Kendricks' trophy. He comes and hangs out. Well, there's some times where me and Will are shaking out this bag and there is 1,000 miles of travel in between every single one of those ribbons. And that's something that you don't capture when you're just trying to tell the story of somebody when they're on the track. And now it takes a big budget to figure out who you're going to do it with. And then I respect that I'm not going to be the guy that gets picked. Pick somebody else. There's a lot more interesting people than me out there. There's some character shots like that. Have Will come. I swear he's got like 20 of these world medals that just from various places. You can dump them out on a table and show that just you can't put that on a sheet of paper and say, I'm going to do this one day. You would call that kid crazy if he was 16 and told you that. You would tell him he was nuts. Go get a job, kid. You can't do what Will Claye did. No freaking way. And that's just how that goes. You can't make people like Will Claye. They don't come about. That's a once in a generation kind of thing.
Man.
Well, it's fun seeing you guys in airports because that's when I get more time with you.
Yeah.
Is like, I'll see you. I saw Sam in Poland in 19 zipping around, coming from Warsaw down to Bydgoszcz and to Torun for a couple events. And I've seen Will in airports, zipping around and stuff like that. And that's where you see a lot of the athletes,
Mm-hmm.
and that would actually be a fun little program right there.
If I was NBC for a day, I would send, they got 1,000 cameras that aren't using every day. Send some homie with a camera, let him get some job experience and follow Will Claye around for a day. The NFL, I hate comparing it to other sports, but other sports got great ideas a lot sooner than we had them. And they started developing this massive use of footage of athletes. I understand that in track and field, and I'm not looking at anybody at USA Track and Field because that is a company of young people that eventually go on to do other things because USA Track and Field train them to do tons of jobs all at once because it's a very stressful place to be sometimes. You got to wrangle all different kinds of people from different places. And you don't know who's going to be on the podium next year. So why do you go get all this footage if they're not even going to be on the team next year? It's a tough thing to grasp. And so sometimes you just got to do it at the field of play. And it kind of ask, if I was the NBC director, I'd be super pushy. I really would. I'd make them tell me no.